Okay. Ah, you would think so, wouldn't you? Alright, here we go. And let's see if we can recall how to do this. It's been a few weeks. It's been a little while. Farrell, yo. Natasha, good morning. Little game is coming out soon. As I know some of you reached out on Twitter and such to say hooray, congrats, etc. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we're getting there. There's still a lot of work to do though. I kind of don't want to be streaming right now. I want to get back to work. Deadlines are very effective incentivizers to get the work done. Yeah, we're getting there. Very, very close. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome on back. Got a few changes. I got a new little rig over here. Check this out. Here, I'll do a quick little webcam move. Nothing NDA breaking here, right? No, it's fine. Okay, here, check it out. Brand new little Arturia. I've been using the same Yamaha KX8. Let me find this thing. Yamaha KX8. When did this thing come out? A long time ago. Images. This thing's a beast. Yeah, there's newer ones. Those are the old ones. This one? Yeah, it's this. It's this guy. Show me more. The new tab. Thank you, very helpful. It's huge. This, you can't see very well in this picture, but it's like, I don't know, a good, probably that deep or so for no good reason. It's a beast. It's like a CRT television versus an LCD screen, you know? Or LED. Yeah, it was time to retire it, for sure. Still have it. It's getting the job done. I was able to do things like this. I could do that. But yeah, I had that paired with an old BCF 2000 fader controller. Behringer, also just as old as dirt. And it was time to retire them both. So now I have some fun knobs and faders and little touch pads and stuff to deal with. Very fun. Anyway, wanna watch a trailer? This is the Tunic, some Tunic tunes, by the way. From Life Formed. Another beast. A beast of a different variety. Oh, that release time. Yes, from Fmod. Let's watch a trailer. It's pretty fun how this thing turned out. Also, this was like the first thing to play at the Game Awards. What the heck, right? I was yelling. Let's go. Okay. Oh, wait. What happened here? What happened? Here we go. My, please, there we go. Sorry, my stream. Oh, man. Apologies. First stream back. It's okay. Turns out pressing ESC in the stream manager has adverse effects. It's okay. It's all right. Claps from the chat. Thank you. I won't clap for myself, but yeah, it's coming along. It's a game you can play from start to finish, and it sounds okay. It's got to sound better yet, but it sounds okay. It's getting there. We have high standards. Okay, but enough of me, enough of us. I am very, very proud of this team. What we're doing with this thing. We're doing some new stuff at Power Up as well that we'll be excited to share soon, but not quite yet. Gotta give it some time to percolate and such. We'll get there. But here for Real Talk, we're looking at Chris Kozlowski, probably. And, geez, I'm getting tested today. These are some challenging names. It's very Europe. We got, is it Denis or Denis? Denis? I'm not sure where he's from. Liudkevich. Is that Russian? That feels Russian to me. We'll see. But yeah, Real Talk, you all know, we're looking at some demo materials from some up-and-comers in the game audio scene and giving some constructive feedback to help them increase their chances of landing a gig in this very competitive industry. And we've been doing this whole stream for, geez, it's going on 6 years. Can you believe that? We've been doing this since June of 2016. That's when Matthew Martinson of Clay Entertainment and I began doing this as co-hosts. Matt holding it down in the chat, as always. And yeah, me with various guest hosts here and there when we have time to schedule them. It's very challenging. A, for people to have time for this at all, and B, for me to have time to ask them on. But it's been a good time thus far. I received another 2 messages from folks we've had on recently on the show. I don't know if I can share them, so I won't, just in case, because of course people want to like reveal their new gigs at a time of their choosing for various reasons. So, but yeah, the point being that 2 people hit me up in the last week to say, "Hey, landed a gig starting soon." So, killer. One of these for them, for the 2 unnamed. Yes, unnamed. Sorry about that, but for the time being, we'll name them soon, hopefully. Yeah, very exciting always to see that the system seems to work somewhat. You know, folks make changes and land jobs, so there you go. We are not, of course, the word of God at all, but happy to give some of our own perspective, at least ourselves, and you in the chat too. So thank you for being here as always. Okay, so quick rundown. If you forgot, I know probably all of you forgot entirely how this show works, but we're looking at a few criteria here. We're looking at presentation, material selection, content quality, and distinction. So for presentation, that is the website on the whole, just general navigation and branding and taste stuff. Is there too much information or not enough? That kind of thing. We're not looking into the audio just yet on that criteria. For material selection, we're looking at what we're seeing there in the demo reel and in the portfolio, and what those various things might suggest about somebody's past work history and their current skill sets and their future ambitions. And I skipped over the demo reel presentation part. So for presentation for the reel itself, we're looking at the length of it and the flow and transitions and the titling and bookends. Again, kind of everything besides the actual audio presentation. And on to the third now, skipping across, content quality. Just, is it good? You know, is this work living up to the industry standard of awesome? And if it's not quite there yet, I will be happy to give you my opinion of where you could level up your work next, and I'm sure the chat will be happy to help as well. And finally, distinction. Just, are you standing out in some positive way? Because it's really important to make a positive first impression. And even if that means you might not get hired this time around, it means that you might get referred to somebody else. You might have your foot in the door already the next time around that same studio is hiring. I mean, I was my dream job for some time before founding or co-founding Power Up with Jeff Tangsock it was to work at Valve, right? That was my dream gig. I was at like a third-party studio for 3 years, and I made a little audio puzzle game called Phonopath. I threw together a demo reel, which would be eviscerated on this show these days. It was not good at all. It was very bad. But I threw that stuff together, and I mean, the reel was bad, but this little game I made was very positive. It was received very positively by the staff at Valve, and I met Jason Hayes, who was the then audio director at Valve. I mean, kind of. They have like loose titles there, but kind of audio director. And he knew me despite my not really being. I mean, it was my first GDC actually, my first time going, and he knew who I was from our phone call because Valve liked Phonopath. And I didn't get the gig, and he was like, "What happened with that? You didn't get the, wasn't pursuing your application at this time, the whole template email." I was like, "Yep, got the form email response. So disappointing, but I'll keep going at it." And he assured me, he's like, "Listen, like half of the people that apply at Valve don't get hired the first time around. They get hired second time around." And that was very eye-opening to me that it's that high of a number that like tons of people don't get hired the first time. I think Valve's got a pretty high standard also, mind you. But, if you make a good impression, he was like, "You need to reapply in 6 months because that thing you made like wasted all of our audio team's time playing this damn game." And it's, it was really cool you did that at all. So, I mean, I didn't reapply, mind you. It was kind of do I reapply at Valve or do I try this Power Up thing with Jeff? And, that was almost 10 years ago. So it's been some time. But, that first impression, even though I didn't get hired, it was still like, okay, you need to reapply because like that shit knocked our socks off. It was like really good to hear that, of course, that kind of feedback. So, it's not about being hired now. It's about just making a very good impression to set yourself up for success in the future. You're making your own luck, basically. And that's what this show is all about. So let's get to it. By the way, do we have a Christian or a Denis in the chat? I'm curious. Being the first one of the year, I was concerned's the wrong word. It had crossed my mind that we may be doing these without the folks in the chat this time around. We'll see how it goes. But okay, let's move that. I guess we'll start with Chris. I said his name first. I mean, sure. Why not, right? Chris, if you are here, please make yourself known. If you are not, then night mode? Oh, that's pretty cool. Although the video is still very, very white. I'd be impressed if it like swapped for a different video with a dark mode background. Okay, so we got Chris Kozlowski. I assume Kozlowski. Does the name become a lower resolution when you change the night mode? Yeah, look at the name. It's like weird. It's an unaliased version of the logo when you go to night. Chris, small detail. It's kind of a funny bug though. Okay, so we got portfolio, about, skills, contact. Let's go about first. Okay, here it is. No image. Chris, I'd love to know what you look like. It's one thing. Because for things like, it's just another impression. I mean, being able to know what folks look like at all leads to things like, oh, I see you across the room at GDC and know who you are. Or I recognize you somewhat at least. Like, hey, I know that person. Who is that? Can't hurt, So let's read. I'll zoom in a little bit more here. How about that? Music and sound have been the biggest part of my life since a very young age. I was brought up playing saxophone and guitar, and as I grew up, I branched out into other instruments. This led me to study music at university, specializing in music composition for the moving image. After university, I started working as a sound engineer in recording studios. During this time, I worked on a large array of projects from Hollywood films to major label artists. This isn't really it's kind of a weird sentence. This is a weird comma. Having always loved games, I decided to make a move into game audio. Sounds like me. I shortly began working at Rockstar Games, shortly afterwards as a QA tester in order to get some good experience in the games industry and to better understand the iterative process of making games at a high level. During my 2 years, I learned a lot, and I have recently left in order to pursue a career in sound design. Why'd you leave? You don't have to leave to do that. You can stay and keep doing that on the side. I have a strong background in music theory as well as a well-trained ear and can use studio hardware and software with fluency. I am confident using in-engine audio, I see in-engine, it's a hyphen there, in-engine audio, as well as middlewares such as Fmod and Wise. I am passionate about, this whole thing needs some editing. I am passionate about making interesting and captivating sound effects which create a believable and living world, and am able to bring my strong background in the audio and games industries to a sound design team. Okay, sure. This bio, this about page, unfortunately doesn't tell me a whole lot about you. The Rockstar Games note is definitely valuable. I appreciate that. This is a good one. Saying what you can do is like kind of valuable too, I guess. It feels a little more cover lettery rather than, yes, Jayon says, sounds like a general cover letter. Brandon Clark, late to the stream, but hello, internet friends. Good to see you again. Good to see you. Okay, so it's a bit cover lettery. I want to know a little more about like, I mean, this is good too, that you studied in music university. I did the same thing. I went to post-secondary for music composition, and saxophone and guitar is good. But things like this, I mean, apart from like general audio, the general editing, like the typos and the hyphen and the weird sentence here and the shortly, there's just various things that could be trimmed down for sure and just smoothed out. And these kind of details, I mean, like, it may seem nitpicky and kind of like I'm just being a jerk here, being like, oh, I see a comma weird thing there. But these details, it's easy to distract, with these kind of details that are missing. And what it leads to is me thinking, oh, well, perhaps Chris is also leaving out certain details in, the audio side of things. Hampton Halls with the Sings note. Twitch Global, what's up? Good to see you. Welcome on in. Let's talk about this also. This last thing. This is something we've mentioned on Real Talk plenty of times before. Whenever you're doing your bio, and I want to be clear, I hate writing bios. I don't have an up-to-date bio, and I dread needing one because I'll need to write it again, and I will not enjoy the process. But when you're writing your bio, I would encourage you to read every sentence and think to yourself, is this about me specifically? And things like this. I am passionate about making interesting and captivating sound effects which create a believable and living world. I mean, yeah, I hope so. Basically, every candidate for a given position, that should be assumable, Because otherwise, why would they know, or why would you know what this gig even exists if you're not really into the sound scene, right? Like this kind of thing, this as well. I'm able to bring my strong background in the audio and games industry to a sound design team. I mean, that's also kind of like, that can be heavily implied by things like I worked at Rockstar and I played music my whole life, Like this isn't necessary to have here, and it just wastes time. It's not, this just reads as filler. And again, I'd encourage you to trim the fat on your bio, but also keep everything specific to you. And that's how you're going to make a better impression. It's just very simple to understand that. Let's go skills. Yeah, this can probably be on the, what are these linked to? I can click this. It just vanishes the title of the thing. Okay, that's all it does. So these aren't links. Nothing links. Do these link? Discord user. This is the first time I've seen Discord on a page, actually, I think. Discord, interesting. What's that even do? Is like just link to your person? Twitter and LinkedIn, cool. This could easily live on your about page. Your about page is not long, you know. This is full size. Look at that. Put it right here. Boom. Small icons, done. Good to go. Coal Miner Audio. Finally get to catch one of these live. Yay. Yeah, welcome to 2022. You're doing it. Well done. If your New Year's resolution was to watch Real Talk live at least once, you know, early success. Good job. Let's Logic Pro says Selfish Eco. I saw where did I see that? I saw this thing on Twitter. What the heck was it? It was like a game audio breakdown of, here it is. Thank you, Ben Gallagher, for retweeting this thing, because this is the Game Audio Journey podcast. I'll put this here, actually. There you go. So check this out. This is interesting. Let's have a look. And the Clayton Show. What up? Welcome on in as well. Requirement trends for audio job postings. This is relevant. So this is top desired sound designer skills of 2021. Over 120 job posts were collected over the past year to find out what video game companies are most commonly looking for in sound design candidates. Please share and discuss. There you go. So top 10 experience requirements, asterisk, from total of 124. Okay. So job experience, 73%, makes sense. Wise, 65, it's high. I think that makes sense for job. I think it's probably fair to say Wise is more commonly used in larger studios, and larger studios are more commonly making job postings, you know, whereas smaller ones might be a little more like ask around-y, you know. Is that fair to assume? Maybe not. I don't know. Shipped title. I'm also curious what kinds of gigs. That was it. Ty Hastings. Is Ty the person here? I'm curious what kinds of gigs they're looking for, like what kinds of studios. And even Alex is saying here, Alex Barnhart in the replies, is there any data on what the breakdown of the seniority of the job postings were? Also an important consideration, yes. All data came from the audio/sound designer titles in the listing, no lead, senior, etc. A link to all the job postings in the article. Let's have a look. Let's go. A link to all the job postings. Show me. Show me the link to the job postings. Where is it? I don't see the job postings. All the posts. Here we go. Very top. WayForward, Zynga, Wargaming, Ubisoft, Turn 10, That Game Company, Sumo Digital, Squanch, Sony, Sledgehammer, Serenity Forge. It's across the board, actually. Some indie stuff, some very indie stuff, and some very AAA stuff. So cool. Noiseworks, Ninja Theory. Like, those are extremely different companies. Jagex, High Moon, Hazelight. Really? There you go. Takes Two, looking for more help. Cool. Cloud Imperium, big surprise. They need help forever. Bungie, Blackbird Interactive. Really? Here in town? I didn't know that. Are these recent? I don't know. Maybe it's just from days gone by. Cool. But back to this, though. So we got ship title, 38%. Reaper, 38. UE4, 35. Field recording. Fmod, 33% only. There you go, right? 34 and 66. Interesting. Pro Tools, scripting. It's funny you ask for Pro Tools. There you go, Reaper. Ask for Reaper, ask for Pro Tools. No one asks for Logic. Yeah, sorry about that. Logic fans in the chat. It's real sad. I know someone just said, shouts to the Logic Pro users. Here it is. Oh, it's a selfish ego. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, not today. All right. Anyway, so yeah, Reaper Pro Tools, that makes sense. I would have guessed that's the case. Although it's cool to be confirmed that Reaper is higher than Pro Tools now. Actually, in the Power Up Slack, Joey on our team was roasting Jeff and I for another year past, another 2 bosses who are not on Reaper. So I guess I keep saying post Tunic. because right now my entire focus is in Tunic and well, not entire. I'm currently lead on Tunic and on Industries of Titan. Tunic being Pro Tools and FMod Studio and Unity, and Titan being Pro Tools and Wise and UE4. So quite different, but still both Pro Tools. And once I'm rid of Tunic, I can leave Pro Tools behind in a partial way. The problem being, I'll still need to have it around for probably voiceover editing because of various reasons. Also, like if I have old projects I need to go into, like Titan is a years old project and probably has some time left in the time left to go for sure. So the issue is if I ever need to like return to old sessions, I need to use Pro Tools, right? Unless there's some magic like convert Pro Tools entire project file to a Reaper project file with markers and contents and everything. That'd be amazing, but I don't think that exists currently. We'll see. That would be a Pro Tools like end of days scenario if that happened. That would be a mass exodus for sure. Okay, back to this though. Back to Chris. Yeah, so Chris, one thing here, it says you're working at Rockstar. I also don't think you said where you are, like where you are. And I feel that would be helpful. Is it on Twitter? London. And you are, what the heck? You're producer engineer at Hackney and assistant engineer at Aridel? I don't know what that is. Edel? So you're currently doing it. You're engineering, and that's nowhere in your bio. So what the heck? That's very pertinent information. All right, so back over to contact. Nothing. Okay, classic contact form portfolio. We have. Oh, it's not really a portfolio then. This is a demo reel, and it's long. 222. Okay, I do want to mention this. I don't want to shame you here, Chris, but the thing is, so everyone who has submitted their work for Real Talk recently, and mind you, there's a few I have not replied to yet. I realized that over the break that they submitted, or just after the break or whatever. I need to catch up a bit. Everyone who submits, if I don't already know you, and I can't assume that you already kind of know like the gist of what this show's about, then what we'll do is we'll say, hey, sure, we've slotted you in for April or whatever the current slot is. 3 months from now-ish is pretty common. And I'll say, I realize that's a bit of a wait. So in the meantime, here's a GDC talk from 2018 that myself and Matthew Martinson of Clay Entertainment did. It goes over all the common issues that we always see on the show, because that way, in the 3 months from now until your review, you could absolutely, get some information from this thing and, glean some changes you might want to make to your own work before we go over it in a public setting. And, then we could have a more fruitful conversation. We can dig into the details rather than covering kind of like the broad strokes we always cover. I mean, things like the about, like, hey, make your bio about you. That's a very broad stroke. And 222, I mean, it's surprising to me because Chris, you told me, you're like, yes, I will have a look. Thanks a lot for the link. It's going to be great. Cheers. And then we see a somewhat long reel here. And it's entirely possible that I will eat my hat here and I will be incorrect, and this reel will be sick and engaging despite being kind of, at first glance on the long side. But it's rare that's the case. It's rare. It happens. It does happen sometimes, but it's rare. We'll see. And also the absence, it's just like various little, because this is how it goes. In any kind of candidacy, any kind of job posting, you just end up like parsing things in a quick and kind of like jump into conclusions way. It's almost inevitable. If you have 600 job postings, candidates on your desk to look at for this job posting, you're not going to go through every single one in detail. You're going to glean like the gist of each one, be like, cool, this one should get more attention, this should not. I think we've seen enough of this one, whatever. And things like the typos in the bio lead me to immediately assume that, again, that there will be details missing in the demo reel also. And it just leads to certain conclusions. So it almost like sets up this lens through which I will view your work that's already kind of like careful. Yeah, I wouldn't say skeptical, but I'm cautious, you know. Whereas if the bio's strong, if the site's strong, I'm going to be like, all right, let's see the reel, and I'll be like eager to see it because everything before that, everything preceding and kind of setting up the reel has been so strong, right? And that's kind of why the site is so important to get right, and the various other things they may see first, because it's just, you know, you want to have your work viewed as favorably as possible. So let's go ahead and make sure I'm all set up here. I'll turn off my sidechain, and we'll have a go. Let's see how it goes. Okay, yeah, so 57 seconds have passed, and we've seen only one thing. I'm absolutely in like scanning ahead mode now. The work isn't bad, it's just long. That's it. You know, this is not painful to watch at all. It's just long. So let's watch the whole thing for the sake of real talk, but I can say with confidence that a lot of people would not watch the whole thing. Let's go. Right. Okay. Thank you, Chris. All right, this was pretty rough in terms of presentation. The content wasn't, again, it wasn't like objectively bad. Just the presentation was rough. It's pretty rough. And also because there's nothing else to look at. This is it. This is the entire page. So, I mean, I can't overstate how it comes across when you're like, hey, here is resources for you, you know? And these resources can lead you to learn a lot more and make progress in a more efficient and effective way. And it's free. Here's some free resources for you. Please enjoy, please learn, please improve your stuff and improve your life. So, but then, there's a lot of stuff here that we're, like I was saying, the broad strokes, the title fades away to nothing. There is no portfolio to speak of. It's just only a reel. It's long. There is text here where we could have voice instead on a separate video explaining how things work. There's no bookend at the end. There's no contact information. There's so many broad strokes here that are missing, and it just doesn't speak well. Because part of it also, Chris, is and again, I don't want this to come across as mean, but this show is about honest feedback, right? And the thing is, I would be more than happy to see Chris's work again, absolutely. But now the problem here is that this is a show about all of you in the chat, rolling in to weigh in on someone's work, and myself and Power Up, taking the time out of our production schedule to make time for this and so forth. And when we're doing this as a mentorship of sorts, and you'd hope that this time is spent in a way that is going to be produce results, right? For some people at least. And it has, like I've been saying, there's folks, we have over 120 people now who are now gainfully employed in some corner of the audio industry, or the game audio industry, and who were previously on the show. So we're happy to help out, of course, and it's something we're really proud of. But when we send a link and say, hey, learn from this, and then it's clear that no effort was made past that point, then it kind of sours the climate, the environment of this conversation, because it's, there are folks who I've given that, hey, have a look at this thing, and they will email me or hit me up on Twitter on DM or hit Power Up and say, hey, listen, can you please make sure you refresh the page, because I just put new stuff up this week, and I want to be certain you're seeing the newest, hottest stuff for me. And they've got a minute-long reel, and everything's crisp and all branded, they've been hustling to get it done, right? And that just looks so good. So it's not, Chris, that this looks bad. It's that others are putting the time and work in, and they're the ones who are going to see results. That just is the case, right? So it's, when I say sours the conversation, it's not that I'm annoyed that I'm giving feedback on this thing that is broad stroke feedback I've given before. I'm happy to do that. I have one-on-one with people before who perhaps haven't seen the show or hadn't seen the talk, or I knew through a friend or whatever, right? It's fine. You don't know something until you know something. So that's totally fine. But just realize that, this is the industry you're in, and you're up against people who are putting that time in. So that's the biggest piece of feedback I can give you, is there is a lot of help already out there, a lot of resources that you have not made use of. So I hope that you will watch this VOD. If you're not here already, maybe you're just hanging out quietly. I hope that you will watch this and take some of it to heart and put the time in, because I think that your work is not bad. And if you clearly have an interest in technical stuff, physics audio is not something we see often in reels, and the ambient stuff's cool to see too. This certainly, I have notes certainly on the content of this one, but it's not bad. And it's implementation also, apparently, not bad at all. Well done. So this is kind of first steps in the path to getting a gig, but I wanted to just know more. You're claiming these things. It's not ideal to read these things, just tell us. But tell us in a secondary video where you can walk us through what you did and how it works, because that's going to be way more convincing and engaging than just claiming this. And we just trust you. This wasn't done linearly. And B, we're going to hear your voice. We're going to hear the passion for the work in your voice as you're explaining it to us. You have a captive audience. You know, people who are watching this video are not watching it because they have to. They're watching because they want to watch it. So that's awesome, of course. Who else do you want other than that? In the chat, we got, let's see here. So we got J Spears Sound, what's up? Is Chris trying to be a technical sound designer / implementer or just do sound design by the way? It seems like technical. Because we got UE5, we got UE4 here and more UE4 here in Wise. So a lot of technical stuff. But yeah, it's not really, and the sound isn't bad at all. It's like, it's fine. You know, this could ship. Mind you, I recognize the sounds. That's one thing I'll mention briefly is like here, there's a lot of boom in this clip, but it's not the end of the world. Like everyone's got their boom library, you know, at the ready on speed dial. It's fine. Okay. And so implementation takes a lot of time to learn and do. So make sure you spend some more time showing your knowledge. Present it to us. Yeah, exactly. Like this, your page claims a lot, but it claims these skills. We don't see Fmod. We don't really see Unreal or Wise either. Like you claim it, but we don't really see it. So it's just much more convincing to show like a behind the scenes thing, right? Because it's just a 1-2 punch. You pique someone's interest with your cool sound design in this UE5 thing. And then you have a secondary video in a portfolio tab that's not the real page with like disparate pieces you've done. And again, like, where do you want to go? I don't know. How about joshadambell.com, right? I mean, this is who you're up against, Chris. You have pages like this that have just a ton of stuff they've done that they're walking you through that they're deeply proud of. And you compare that to your page. Again, I'm not saying that your stuff sucks. I'm saying that it's just you're up against people who have done and shown a lot more than this. That's all. So let's talk about, and sorry, I'll read Wayne's also. What's up, Wayne? Good to see you. Ever since I changed my reel during my talk as soon as November to now, everyone I currently have 4 gigs this year, I've talked to for gigs, has commented on how professional my website looks. And I just changed presentation notes Kevin gave. Looks do ease people's mind, I guess. Totally. Yeah. They're like, oh, this person's serious. I can rest assured it's probably at least fine. You know, and because what it means to people is they see someone with a serious website that looks professional and everything's laid out nicely. They can get where they wouldn't need to go very easily. They see that. And it's very easy to see how someone would draw the conclusion that that person's professional attention to detail would translate into the project they're trying to hire for, right? I mean, it's a stone's throw away. It's the same damn thing. So when you see pages that don't have that detail, it's the same correlation. They think, oh, well, perhaps they won't have the same, like the level of attention to detail that I need for my project. It's just, like, it's obvious, right? As soon as you kind of think of it from that angle, it just makes complete sense. Let's talk about presentation a little bit, just really quick. Again, it'll be a bit broad strokey, but I do like that you have this intro. I think the rocks is unfortunate because your whole reel is like rock impacts. I'd like something a little bit different here. And the name thing is fine. It's a little bit like boom, on a keyboard. Could be a little more interesting. You have a blank canvas here, so go wild with it. The thing here, we got a title that fades away instantly. Value the Ancients UE5. On the off chance someone has never seen this before, is this a real project? Is this something you worked on? Is this something that's a personal project you made from the ground up? Is it a demo project available online? It's important to be clear what this thing is. So to say here, it's a personal project, say UE5 demo project or whatever. Just say what the thing is and leave this title visible the entire time, please. Don't make it fade away. Fade it half away, the Zvi Sherman way, please. Next up, we got I mean, this is very long. We talked about that. This does not need to be more than a minute long. And the thing is, because you have no portfolio on your page, there's no additional materials to look at. That's why you've shoved everything into your reel, because we've got nowhere else to look, right? So when you have a portfolio, you can put the full cut on the portfolio page, and then have your 15 seconds of the hottest stuff, maybe from kind of here on. I don't know, or even just do another capture that more efficiently shows 15 seconds you want to show. It's an option too. Next thing up, we got a transition to this, which looks like this. It's a lot of silence. It's a lot. This isn't the best thing for a reel. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's kind of a good follow-up. Like, hey, I've already interested them in my UE5 stuff and my UE4 stuff. I'm in Wise, etc. Maybe this video is like on your portfolio page with the physics audio title, and if someone's interested in that, they will click it, and you can say, hey, hey, I'm Chris Kozlowski, and this is me doing UE4 and Wise stuff, and here's how it works. Strap in. That would be wonderful, but in a reel, it's just not very engaging. And the thing is, this should be the teaser trailer for you. It shouldn't be the dev commentary, So this here is just really quite yawn-inducing, and we're just reading, the white text. It's kind of hard to read in the red background too. It's just not ideal for this kind of video. And then same thing here. The ambience is it's not bad, it's nice. This could ship in a game, definitely. It's just a little bit dangerous to start doing things like this, putting text here and forcing people to start learning more, because it's kind of like your bio. You probably shouldn't expect people to want to learn this kind of thing until they want to. Does that make sense? Have it available for them. So you have a video saying, hey, here's my ambience thing. I walk through it and tell you how it all works. It's pretty cool, right? Have it there, but don't force it upon them. Don't make them learn something. Just say, hey, here is this thing I did, and just say you did sound design, Wise integration, level design. Cool. Just say that. And then that alone is impressive, That's good enough. Have it, just leave that up. And then have the video secondary that goes through how this all works. Because that's going to be the two of the 1-2 punch. You're going to pique their interest, and then they watch the thing, they go, damn, Chris is a cool guy. Very impressed. Let's talk about material selection. So from this clip, I don't know what kind of games you want to work on. You've only given us this AAA-ish looking thing. It's not... It's a partial look at your interests, but your bio as well, mentions you were at Rockstar, so we can make certain assumptions from that, I guess. But it was QA, But you haven't really said here what you like for game stuff, and you haven't implied it either. So for a developer to roll in and adjudicate your work and say, is Chris a good fit? You're kind of forcing them to make certain assumptions. It's maybe Horizon, the next game of the Horizon franchise needs some audio support, and they're looking for a sound designer, and they look at your work. Can they glean from this that you are passionate about that kind of game? Maybe. It's partial. If this was indie games only, they could probably assume, okay, probably not the best person for the job, but they seem like they like games. That's pretty cool. Maybe we can talk to them. Whereas you have a reel where it's AAA redesign, UE5 implementation, UE4 implementation, AAA redesign. And it's going to be oh, this person's obviously heavily invested in the AAA space, and they'd be a great fit for our team. Or even better, you have Horizon Zero Dawn redesigned, and they're oh shit, this person likes Horizon, obviously. And if they came on our team, they already know this game very well. They already know what we're trying to build here. There wouldn't be onboarding necessary. So yeah, this is just, the work is not, it's not that it's bad. It's just not doing double duty of communicating A, your skills, and B, what you want to be doing. I just don't know. I can tell you want to be involved in the technical side of things, but I'm not certain where, What kind of gig? Saffron works. Wow, great insights. Hey, cheers. Happy to have you here. Of course. Let's talk content briefly. Let's go. This is apparently implemented. I'm impressed. Sounds pretty good. Again, it's very boom-y. I've heard a lot of boom. Like the debris large explosion sound is in there, I think, a few times. Where is that one? It's like, I'm definitely guilty of using this one myself. It's like, it's very, very juicy, good foundation to throw in there. Always. Is it here? I don't know where it is. 1 second. I got this. Yeah, here we go. And destruction. Wait. Oh, come on, man. I'm making a liar to myself. Is this not it? I can't find it now. I'm being a little bit stubborn now. Here it is. This is the one, right? Yeah, that's the one. It's those three. DBCK add explosion 123. Those 3 files. They are like, I'm pretty sure that's in a few places here. Isn't that it? I think so. Yeah, it's gotta be the same one. So, and again, nothing wrong with that because it's only sound people who will hear that, but realize that it's sound people who are hearing your work being redesigned. So be aware that while it's not like, it's not going to lose you the job by using recognizable samples. It might just be one tiny distraction. And the more, there's of course a spectrum here. If it's egregious, if I can tell you just drag and dropped like that sound and threw it on there, then that's not really speaking highly to your sound design. It can speak highly to your sound editing and your taste for like what works in this scene and so forth. Because sometimes, yeah, one region like is enough for a project, for like some physics sounds or whatever, right? But yeah, just be aware. The more character a moment, an event, a sequence might demand, the more I would encourage you to lean away from like drag and drop style sound design, where you like pulling this on you and good to go, and more into kind of making it your own. But yeah, it's I won't critique too hard. There was who was it? Oscar Cohen who tweeted that recently. It was like, tell me what your job is without telling me what your job is. And he like took a video of like buying the entire Boom library, and it was like AAA sound designer. It was pretty funny, you know? Anyways, move on. A little Foley there? On the fall? Very nice. Yeah, selfish ego. So there you go too. And that's the thing. If this was like a highly technical focused reel and you were using, you know, drag and drop stuff for the sake of implementation, and like, hell yeah, that makes complete sense. Because why would you waste your time on making something that sounds like amazing when you don't want to be doing that specifically in your work, you know, as far as like the job you're hired for. So that makes sense too. Totally. That panning on the laser, it's nice. Again, like it's It's the impacts are just that explosion sound. But honestly, like, this is pretty good, which is why it's so tragic that the presentation is so poor, because like the work is good. It's if you're like Chris, if you're looking to be in a technical position, you've got a lot of good work here that could. It's very convincing, you know, like you put the time in, and I think that some people would be highly like it's compelling work. They'd be highly interested in what you're doing here, but like yeah, your bio needing some love. There being an absence of a portfolio, the page being like pretty basic on the whole, the reel being long. Like these various things are just they're detracting from all the positive notes here. Again, I'm not looking to be rude. This isn't like a roast stream at all. I think you've got some really good work here, Chris. Just a matter of sculpting it into a form that is easily digestible and quickly, efficiently. Because again, realize you are one of probably hundreds of candidates for a given AAA position, assuming you're looking for AAA. So the one piece of advice that I'll never forget that I got from Scott Gershon at a GDC talk was, your job with your reel is to make me want to hear more in 10 seconds. So let's have a look at that. It's fine so far. Like you may have just snuck in at the end with the hooks to make me want to hear more, barely. But then after this, we have another 10 seconds of footsteps only. You know, it's just bold. So I think there's ways to make this a little more of a story being told. What's the story of Chris's abilities, Chris's skill sets and interests, and just take us on a little more of a journey here, because right now it's a little bit sleepy. So I know we kind of jumped around a lot for this, like for the criteria for this, but I think I'm probably keen to move on at this point. Yeah, Chris, if you do watch this and you have any specific questions, please hit me up. I mean, feel free to. Again, despite kind of the earlier concerns I had for like the work that was not done here compared to the advice I previously given, like whatever, man. For all I know, you got hired somewhere, you got busy. In which case, why would you update your reel if you're already working, right? Of course. But yeah, let me know. And otherwise, distinction-wise, I don't think you're standing out yet, but it's not because you're not good. It's because your work is not being displayed as effectively as it could be. So please, some claps for Chris in the chat. And we'll move on to Denis. Liudkevich. Liudkevich? If it's Russian, that's probably how you say it. Liudkevich. Or Kievich? Liudkevich? I don't know. I think Kia is different. Yo Swift. Welcome, by the way. Good to have you here. Welcome on in. Let's go ahead and look at, I'm going to say Denis. Denis. Front page. I assume this being the the focus of the room is probably Denis. Cool. Like, yeah, so right away, Chris, have a look at this, man. Like this page versus this page. I think, so let's find out. Game audio, demo reel. Yeah, so Denis has Denis has one additional step before seeing the reel, but we have this little kind of extra, like, oh, little impression. This is him. I assume it's him. If it's not him, then this is probably bad. This is maybe not the best photo to use, but we'll assume it is. How I started. In the bio. Interesting. So we have a bunch of things here. We got this. Okay. Unlike many people working with sound, I was not raised in a music family or played any instruments until 20. Yeah, I was just saying, me and Chris both. There you go. But since my mother is a choreographer, that's interesting, and I'm also a dancer in my spare time, music was still around. Yeah, certainly parallels there. Cool. At 18 years old, I moved to the Czech Republic from Russia alone, and kind of closed up for people and was kind of closed up for people and was listening to the environment around me a lot. Oh, I see. Introvert. And lastly, I tried to make electronic music, and after I was introduced to sound design, I figured out that I'm a lot more interested in sound itself rather than music. That sounds a lot like me. Interesting. Russia. So in this case, there's some like editing stuff, some English stuff that I'm less concerned about. Well, not less, but it's just, I guess maybe Chris is not English first language either. I don't know. It's possible. But like Russia to Czech Republic is pretty obvious that Denis's first language is not English. But Russia, what's up, man? Privyet. Как дела? And Czech Republic too. Oh, I know that one. Oh man, how do you? It's like Jak se máš, I think. Jak se máš is how are you? I can't recall. Sorry. Let's move on. My experience, typo here, experience and skills. Luckily, I was studying CTU in Prague. CTU, what is this? And could focus on audio, at least on its technical side. After finishing it, I moved to, no idea, to get a master's degree in audio engineering. There were a lot of opportunities to explore every audio area. So I was a boom operator for Czech TV and films, a sound engineer. Well, there he is there, boom operator. A sound engineer for live concerts, an assistant in professional music studio na Orly, and a sound designer for commercials. But what I really dug into was non-linear sound for games. This wide range of profiles helped me develop my skills, gave me a complex vision and understanding of sound. Sorry, this is an and gave me. You can download my full CV down below. Now, I'm aware of the fact that nonlinear sound is the way I want to go for. And since I was a freelancer for a long period of time, working independently is a usual mode for me. Now I realize that I need a team of people with whom I can share. Okay, sure. So my intention is to break through the game industry to a game studio. Okay, sure. This whole thing, if you can, I'd recommend finding someone English first language to edit this through, because it's like, yeah, I get the gist, but can't hurt to have it polished up. Okay, and then, yeah, we have the Czech version right here too, see? There you go. How? Yeah, see? Jak se máš. How are you? Jak something else. Okay, so contacts. Yeah, contact is probably fine. Contacts is kind of strange. Email, phone, etc. Cool. We got services. Various things. Got it. And now game audio. So yeah, in the past, we've had the note that it might be worth having film and game stuff on separate pages entirely. I know, like Zvi Sherman, for instance, has, like, his landing page is this one, right? It's like portfolio. What's post sound? Here's my clients, right? It's very post audio, Fire Festival, all these things, right? But then he also has his games page, which he would be giving to folks in the game space, right? And this is like the same page, kind of, but it's just heavily focused on game stuff instead. So it's not even, it may not even cross the reviewer's mind, the recruiter, etc., that, well, the Oscar Cohen in the chat, I was just talking about you, man. It may not cross someone's mind that Zvi is not fully invested in the game space 100%. And while that might not even be true, it's just like a perception thing, you know? So with this page instead, Denis, I do applaud you having these things on different tabs, definitely. But you may want to take it even further and have like the full version of the page as games only. Because then you'll have just this like really focused piece rather than this split of like, oh, and film stuff also. Because when it may not even be something that people consider like consciously, but if they have someone of your ability and another person of your exact ability, and one of them is all games and one's like film game split, the all games candidate might get the gig just because they seem more invested in the game space. Yeah, just be aware of that. Again, it's just a perception thing. It may be you're both equally, qualified for the gig. Okay, so homepage. Let's go back to the game audio stuff. Game audio, and then here we are. Demo reel. No video. I kind of don't like the demo reel button. Just give me a video. Whoa! Okay, we're just starting. 112. Just starting. There's no intro at all. I guess we're going. Let's have a look. And sidechain is off. Nice. So there was an ending card. I would do a starting card too, Dennis. This is a bit of a bold start. Just immediate. Man. And like click it and it's just boom. Give us an onboard ramp, you know? We're jumping over a fence here. It's just too large a climb to do immediately. Okay. Thank you for the claps in the chat, everyone. So damn supportive. Okay, let's talk about this reel a tad. So it's 112. It's a hair long. It's not egregiously long. There was one point where I thought I had enough. I wanted this clip to transition right here. Right there. On like an impact. Because this one was nice here. This transition was good. That was great. Little chaos turn. Really nice. And then, unfortunately, the other transitions were kind of just a little less mindful. So this clip was, how long? 18 seconds-ish? And I wanted this one to stop at right here. Man, that's pretty close. It's like 35. So each of them was like 17, 18 seconds. Flow-wise, this felt perfect to me right here on this little blast. And then it kept going. And the problem is, again, this is a length consideration, but it's not only length, it's like engagement. Because, well, it's also not only engagement, it's communication. So if you're looking to present your skills and communicate what you're capable of, then I would highly suggest that you look at every second of your piece and think, is this person still gripped? And if they are, it's probably because they're learning something new about you. That, oh, here's a new sound. I haven't heard that before. Cool. In this case, oh, please. I think around like after that little blast, around here or so. I wasn't super learning new stuff. It was kind of all the same, and even earlier on too, like the Foley and like arrows and stuff. It was kind of samey for a little while, and you did a pretty good job elsewhere of showing the meat of your work. So I think that this could probably be trimmed in a little bit lengthwise. And further, the God of War clip I didn't have a problem with. It was like long enough. It was fine. I didn't get tired of it. It was a good transition here. The swing and the blast. It's like kind of on time, I guess. Kind of. It certainly is better than just some fade to black and back up again. Just there's maybe some more room for a more one-to-one blast. Like this swing of the axe into the blast of the door isn't really like, I wouldn't expect that to come from this. So more commonly, or the absolute best is having like some connection between the two things happening. So if you have like a big swing and like a big impact on the ground or something like that, or a charge and a fire and like a big blast, or I mean, we use Aaron Bowers all the time. We like climb the ladder and like next clip crossfade into like cresting a ladder, different game. Awesome. You know, obvious that there was some thought put in there. Whereas this didn't have quite the same like, oh, that was super intentional. And this one, the previous didn't really have that for me at all. This one here just felt like just a cut, you know. Okay, as far as your titling goes, God of War 3, Santa Monica Studio, sound redesign, cool. But same thing as Chris, it fades away and it's gone. Keep that up, please. There's literally no downside to doing so. If you want to, you can fade it halfway, it's V. Sherman style, to like this, and leave it there even less than that if you want. Like the... I can't do it. I can't get there. There we go, right there. Fade it like that, and leave that up the whole time. Yeah, that's kind of it for presentation stuff, I guess. The other consideration is there's a lot of background music and sound and stuff happening in these clips. That might be a content thing, but I may need to rewatch to know what that is, that sound. But here there's some kind of music stuff too, like some drums and stuff. Sound redesign. Yeah, music here can probably go entirely, Dennis. Just get it out of there. Focus on sound only, and don't muddy up your mix with music stuff. It's not really what we're interested in hearing if this is a sound reel. And the fact is, if you like having a background in music or having musical anything for skills is definitely a good thing in terms of your skill sets for being hired for any audio gig. But for a AAA studio gig, you wouldn't be doing music and sound both. It would be one or the other. So you might as well just focus in and have the magnifying glass out on your sound work. And next up, I guess we'll talk about some material selection stuff. I mean, yeah, Chris, check it out, man. This video is so clear of what kind of games Denis is interested in working on. Like, it's obvious. You know? This fidelity. This kind of fidelity. Halo Infinite. God of War. Horizon. Like, these are obviously AAA gigs, and that will speak very clearly to a person reviewing this work. Mind you, there is no integration work. There's no Ys, there's no Fmod. And the thing is, Dennis, is you have claimed here that you are aware of the fact that non-linear sound is the way to go. See you, Natasha. Good to see you. Happy New Year. See you in 2 weeks. All the best. You claim that you love non-linear sound, and I'm right there with you for sure. And in services, here you go. You claim implementation, sound to your game with middleware or your engine. Sure, I believe you, but you're not showing it. Unless I missed something entirely. Holy Shift contributed to complete sound design. Parliament. Like, this can be in your reel too. What's this stuff? What's this? Okay, yeah, great. So it's pretty like UI heavy and ambience heavy, but that's still fine. You may think that this game doesn't resemble Halo Infinite and therefore it doesn't have a home on your reel, but I fully disagree. I think that you can totally put this like towards the end of your reel and have a, hey, here's the thing I worked on, because working on anything is something that a lot of people have not done, you know? And further, I want to know more about this project. What is this? I can't learn more. I can't learn anything else. There's only the name of the thing and no information on like, well, did you do, it says complete sound design. Is that also implementation? Is this thing in Unity? Is it in Unreal? Is it like some custom engine? Like, what is this? What is this? Right? Tell us more information. I want to know. So over to content quality stuff. Sure, let's talk about that a bit. There is some mix focus stuff throughout. I think that's probably my biggest note, my biggest takeaway, just as a first impression. I think that it's real tempting as a sound designer to put all this time into designing all these separate sounds. Like you have the action stuff, like the combat stuff, you have the Foley, you have the ambient content, you have all these things. And once you do all of them, you're like, oh man, these sounds sound so cool. They sound awesome. Let's crank them all up. It's very tempting. But the problem with that, or the danger with that, is that you risk losing focus and suddenly all your cool sounds are muddled and you don't hear any of your cool sounds. So real important to pick and choose kind of what you want to have at the forefront, yeah? Sir Oski, good to have you. Welcome on in. Howdy. So one pretty obvious example here, as far as that sticks up in my mind, is the footsteps of our hero, our heroine here. We have, just listen to footsteps only in this clip, it's crazy. Oh, but no feet there when she hopped back. So when something's at the front of the mix, what that means is that this is the focus of the story currently. This is the story being told, and here's the sound of that story. So when you have footsteps that far up in the mix, that suggests that the footsteps are the story happening right now. But it's obviously not the story. There's a big fight happening, right? Whereas you have a clip like Kozlowski's first clip, where the character is like walking towards the big boss thing. The story in that moment is the footsteps. That moment is about like movement from place to place. We want to hear that movement. And here you can pull it way back. Of the footsteps is crazy. So loud. Yeah, so back to the beginning here. There was some background stuff here. I don't know what it was. What is that like whirling synth tonal thing in the background? What even is that? Is it like room ambience? I still have no idea. So perhaps I'm just missing something entirely, but Atomic Heart. Like well, because right now, coal miner, like there's no weapon right now. It's like, it's crazy. So is it the room? Is it these robots? There's just so much happening in that clip, Dennis. I think, again, as a sound designer, you are supporting and sometimes defining the narrative. So it's up to you to decide what's most important. And in this shot, it's like everything's important, and it just can't be. Like, that's important there. I don't know what the background tonal thing is. The spinning is happening quite stereo as well. So yeah, Coal Miner, you're saying is the weapon. The device, yeah, John saying the device is holding this like saw blade handle thing, little mace. I don't know what this is, but I haven't played this game. But if it is, sure. But man, imagine if it was that loud for the entire time you had this thing out during the game. It'd be crazy. So what might be the move is, you know, pull it out, maybe like introduce it loud and like pull it back in volume significantly or entirely. It's more like, because the thing is you pull it out and in that moment the story is about brandishing a weapon. You have a new thing out, a new device, whatever. And it's like, so we'll hear that briefly because it's like it's currently in this moment what the story is. The player has made their story. I have a weapon now. It's out. But when they're walking from here to there for half an hour, that's not the story. The story isn't about the weapon. It's about the moving. So hearing it just nonstop, it's crazy. And it's also stereo. And the thing is, we're hearing it, like, we're seeing it to the right, but we're hearing it on the left also. So problem there. Yeah. And there's no change there either. When you move to the back, you know, I would expect that change, or that to change in volume or something. Like this, the mix here makes this seem like it's this chaotic environment or something where like tons of things are happening. But like really, if we mute this, like what's happening in this scene right now? We break that stuff, turn around, zap it, thing moves, hit that thing comes in. Like it seems it's like this cascade of events are happening. Not like everything's crazy. So this is a confusing clip for me. And the fact it leads off and has no introduction, just like starts, we're in the mess of it, is a little bit bold. So I'd be aware of what this mix is doing to the listener, Dennis. It's a little scary. But a little bit of time left here. Let's go to the next clip. We got Horizon. Yeah, I mean, it's again kind of a mixed thing. There's a lot of stuff all up front. Just taste-wise and audio direction-wise, one thing that stood out to me on the first listen as well was this moment here, this and click, pew. So this stood out to me as being kind of weird. It's like non-diegetic, I guess. You know, non-diegetic being things that happen for the sake of the player, not in the world itself. Like sounds that happen for the sake of the player. So it's super stereo. It's like happening here and here, you know? There's nothing in the middle. Gee, it's so wide. So when something's that wide, it suggests to me that it's, I mean, we hear it in things like and stuff like that. If you're standing there watching it, you wouldn't hear for some cinematic moment, but for the sake of the player, we throw it in because it's kind of cool and cinematic, right? Right here, this, I wouldn't describe this sound as like cinematic support. It feels like that's supposed to be synced to the thing we're seeing. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's very effective as a cinematic element. And if it's for the thing we're seeing, then it shouldn't be so damn wide. It should be in front of us. We should hear the thing happening. And then same thing here. We hear a click from the thing. It's from it, and then is again super wide again. So there's this like disconnect between what we're seeing and what we're hearing. It's like, are we hearing this scene, or are we hearing like some other coloration being added to the scene to make it sound kind of big and, you know, larger than life or something like that? If we do, and again, you can totally have that stuff, and you probably should have that stuff for big, like cinematic sequences like this. You should have that non-diegetic content, but that content needs to be supported by what we're seeing, like the sound of what we're seeing. It's support. It's not like the full story, right? What's that high-pitched whippy noise mapped to? I keep missing it. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I don't know. Hello? This player. Nice whooshes and impacts is one thing. Very nice. I could have used a little more of the sound of the woof, woof on the first attack from the guy here. Oh, earlier. Here. That's not bad. It's a lot of fire. I hear like a more woof in the actual like this the thing itself, the weapon itself. Cool. It's 1:30. I'm keen to kind of walk on. A lot of these notes are kind of the same across the next two clips too, as far as mixed stuff. This one's the most focused of all of them, which I really appreciated actually. The ambience, they just serves that. It's like very just sounds like winter forest, you know. Yeah, there. Boom. It's kind of tonal almost. That surprised me as being tonal, but yeah. Selfish Ego says those attacks need more weight to them. Yeah, that's my feedback too. I think in general, Dennis, if you don't have a sub, I'd recommend getting a subwoofer because it feels like these are mixed on a system that is not showing you what's happening down below. There's some bass there though, like the has a lot of bass. Let's get a whoosh. And then whoosh, the slices. A little more of that in there, you know? And hold up. So here's the thing is we're hearing the slice, but then we only hear the whoosh if it's not impacting. After the body's gone, watch this. Right? So more of the movement, more of the more damage dealing impact, heavy impact. And then same thing here. Some more weight there. There's a lot more room for a little more weight in the lows and low mids across the board. Chaos. Okay, cool. Thanks, Dennis. Distinction-wise, I don't think you're standing out quite yet because of the absence of implementation stuff and because of, I mean, you could be splitting, you know, attention, film, and game stuff. It's not the worst thing in the world, but just be aware there are risks there. And the reel can be tightened up a little more. It's not bad though. What's in there is pretty good. Nice solid effort on those redesigns. Definitely above average. Let's for the last thing, I do want to see these last two little things here too before you call it. I have no complaints here, man. Yeah, I think that these things have a home in your reel, honestly. Just tease everything. So here's some cool things I've done. Here's what I want to be doing. Here's some other materials that show my work in Wise or Unreal or whatever. You're good to go. So, very nice. Well done. Thank you. And yeah, again, Tunic is out soon. I'm going to go work on that. Okay, so let's play this again. Thanks everyone for chilling here for the first Real Talk of the year. If you yourself want to submit your work for Real Talk, you can do so at the link down below, powerupaudio.com, or at powerupaudio on Twitter, or at ReggieMK, that's me personally. It will get to us in any of those avenues. We'll get your request. Bear in mind, we are currently scheduling new reviews into like March and April, I think. And I believe I even have like 4 I haven't replied to, so it might even be May. So yeah, if you feel like you have some work left on your reel, you might want to just submit now and do that work in the interim, and then we'll actually have you'll have a deadline to work towards too. It can't hurt, right? Deadlines are very effective, didn't you know? Okay, everyone, thanks so much, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Cheers.